Hello, everybody. It's been a while.
So this is teaching for women. So what does it mean to obey his voice? That is an idiom. And it's Deuteronomy chapter 5, Deuteronomy chapter 4, Deuteronomy chapter 6. To obey his voice is to keep the 10 Commandments, what he gave with his voice. What did the Messiah say? I desire mercy over sacrifice and the knowledge of God over burnt offerings. Go learn what that means. He quoted Hosea chapter 4, verse 6, and Hosea chapter 6, verse 6 and 7. Yahovah never desired the sacrificial law. He desired mercy. Luke chapter 1, verse 72, that he sent his son to perform that mercy, keeping covenants and mercy with those who love him and keep his commandments. For his son in Deuteronomy 18, verse 15 through 19 was prophesied to come to give us what was desired at Horeb, which is the life-giving water that you spoke of. In Exodus 17, what they thirsted for and chided to Moses at the rock of Horeb, the rock you should build your house upon, which is Deuteronomy 4 through 6. The 10 Commandments, what Yahovah gave with his voice out of the cloud in the midst of the fire. They saw no similitude, they only heard a voice. And he declared unto them his covenants, which he wrote with his own finger on 2 tables of stone, and placed inside the ark of the covenant under the mercy seats. For he desires mercy over sacrifice, mercy, the 10 Commandments, over the sacrificial law. It is better to obey than to sacrifice. For he didn't desire burnt offerings, but obedience to his 10 Commandments. The sacrificial law was added to the covenant at Horeb, because after Horeb, after they agreed to that covenant, Deuteronomy chapter 5, they feared God. They did not want to hear his voice anymore, so that they die not. So they asked Moses to be their mediator, to go receive the word from the Lord, and whatever he commanded they would do, and they well spoke which they had spoken. Deuteronomy 18 quotes Deuteronomy chapter 5. The Lord thy God would rise up from amongst them of thy brethren unto thee a prophet. The people were to hearken unto him according to everything that was desired at Horeb in the day of the assembly. And the people well spoken which they had spoken, Yahovah would rise up a prophet from amongst them. He would put his words in that prophet's mouth. He would send that prophet in my name. And whoever doesn't listen to that prophet and what he commands through that prophet, he's going to require of the people the 10 Commandments. Matthew 22, verse 37 through 40. The 2 elevated commandments where all the law and prophets hang on those 2 commandments. Isaiah 42, he was prophesied to magnify the law and make it honorable. Galatians 3:19 tells you the law that was added because of transgression. would be done away with, until the seed should come, which the promise was made, Yeshua, and it was ordained by angels in the sight of the mediator, that mercy who performed in Luke chapter 1, verse 72, Daniel chapter 9, verse 4, Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9 and 10, that mercy he would perform, keeping covenants, the covenants he would remember, the covenants he would confirm with many for 1 week. Yeshua, before he ceased sacrifice, the sacrificial law midweek. Daniel chapter 9, verse 27. What did he tell the rich man in Matthew 19? When he asked him, how do I receive eternal life, good master? He says, I'm not good because he's not God. There's only one that's good, that's Yahovah. But if you want to enter into life, keep the commandments. What did the rich man say? I've kept all those commandments. Yeshua rebuked him and said, if you're so perfect, sell all of your belongings and come follow me. For his people are to be set apart, not of this world, but in the world's. That is what it means to obey God, to be obedience to God, to obey his voice, is to obey the covenant his son refreshed in Acts 3, verse 18 through 23. For this is the time of refreshing. Isaiah 28. But they would not hear. The ungodly men in Jude chapter 1, verse 4, who've turned the grace of God into lasciviousness, unbridled lust, wantonness, shamelessness, the doctrine that you can come before the Lord shameless in your sin because you have unmerited favor. For the grace of God in Titus 2, that has appeared to all men, every person on this planet. It was not of your works, because it was a free gift given to every single soul on this planet, to teach them to deny ungodliness, which is sin, and lusts of this world, the opposite of lasciviousness, the opposite of unbridled lust, wantonness, shamelessness. The grace of God that has appeared to all men teaches them to deny sin and lust of this world so they can live righteously. What is his righteousness in Matthew 22? To love God with all your heart, soul, and mind. He quoted verbatim Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 5. It means to keep the 10 commandments, teach your children the 10 commandments. Verse 25, and the commandments will be your righteousness. Living righteously, keeping the 10 commandments, including his Sabbath, the 4th commandment, as Yahovah has commanded thee in Deuteronomy chapter 5, not how man has changed it to be, as Yahovah has commanded thee, dawn Saturday to dawn Sunday. Matthew 28. At the end of Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, the Messiah had already risen and was gone. He rose on the Sabbath, which is dawn Saturday to dawn Sunday. Not the first day of the week, not a Babylonian evening Friday to evening Saturday. The 6th day going into the 7th day. No, the 7th day. Morning, Exodus chapter 16. They gathered twice the amount of manna on the 6th day. For he said, tomorrow is the Sabbath. Morrow means morning. The 7th day.